Teck Resources Limited cancelled its application for a proposed $20 billion bitumen mine in northern Alberta that would have created 7,000 construction jobs, 2,500 high-paying permanent jobs. Hundreds of those would have been filled by Indigenous people in northern Alberta. It would have generated $55 billion of estimated revenue for the Alberta government to fund programs like healthcare, education, and social services, including for Indigenous Albertans, and it would have generated $15 billion in revenue for the federal government. It also would have generated enormous benefits for local First Nations, all 14 of whom had signed agreements supporting the Teck Resources frontier mines. It represented the way forward, a balance between environmental and cultural protection and economic opportunity and jobs, plus lasting revenues. But it's over now. The project was canceled on Sunday night because of uncertainty created by uncompromising ideological opponents of any resource development. So my question for the Jane Fondas and Leo DiCaprios of the world who have flown up to Athabasca Chippewa Nation to say leave it in the ground and shut down the oil sands is, where are they now? What are they going to do? Are they going to go to their rich friends in Hollywood and raise billions of dollars to invest in a new industry in northern Alberta that can provide opportunity and revenue and a future for the young people of those nations? No, they'll forget all about it. They'll forget all about that community. And if generations to come in those communities end up living in poverty, if the social impact of that poverty is despair and addiction, what do they care? These people in Toronto and Vancouver who say, shut it all down and leave it in the ground. Where is their concern? Where is their social responsibility for the social consequences of this? This is why former chief counselor of the Haisla Nation on the West Coast, who's now an elected member of the British Columbia legislature, refers to this as, quotes, eco-colonialism. As southern urban Canadians who have no real understanding of, contact with, or regard for the social and economic consequences of what's happening in many First Nations communities, can say no, no, no to any form of opportunity. And I can tell you that the government, and I believe the vast majority of the people of Alberta, disagree with those zealots who want to close any opportunity for First Nations to become partners in responsible resource development in the resources that have trillions of dollars of value and which lie below the lands which your ancestors first inhabited. And in the government of Alberta, your nations, your communities, have a partner that will bend over backwards, as we did in these two agreements, to get to yes, to find the balance. Not only did Teck cancel its $20 billion proposed investment this past week, something else happened. The government of Vladimir Putin in Russia announced a planned $150 billion investment by companies in developing offshore oil and gas in Siberia and the Arctic. We are shutting down our resources because of political pressure from a small number of overwhelmingly urban militants, while a regime that has spread warfare and conflict, whose political opponents domestically seem to disappear at a high level of frequency, a country that doesn't have a shadow of our commitment to environmental protection, human rights, Indigenous rights, labor rights, will be massively expanding its energy consumption. So to the David Suzukis of the world and their fellow travelers, to the Pam Palmatiers and all the rest of them, if you succeed in shutting down Canadian energy and locking out First Nations from the chance at prosperity, You will not reduce by 1 barrel the amount of energy that is produced or consumed around the world. All you will do is shift wealth from Canada and Canadian First Nations to OPEC dictatorships in Vladimir Putin's Russia. Friends, that does not create a better world.